Okay, thank you everybody for coming to the only drop-in sessions for this week. Hi Sakya, good morning Sakya. I just want to check with you whether on your side you can hear me clearly. Sakya, how are you doing? Well, huh? So note that for this week we only have this drop-in session because tomorrow you will have your take-home test 1. So definitely we will not have a drop-in sessions in the afternoon. So you can do something else again on the other unit after you did your take-home test 1, and I can start marking hopefully on the evening. And next week there will be no drop-in sessions on Wednesday. Okay, the only drop-in sessions will be on Thursday, and the materials will only be on the feedback of the take-home test 1 materials that will be given to you tomorrow. So the point is not to give you extra materials for the week 7 where you are supposedly on the revision week. Okay, so it's just to slow down your pace. So what I give is only a small feedback, and that drop-in sessions will not be recorded basically, so it will not be uploaded into the Canvas. So the feedback will only be given to those that will attend the sessions in order for you to understand where you probably don't understand in your take-home test 1. Okay, because I don't want you to pass the take-home test 1 materials to your junior basically. Okay, even though I'm changing the materials every year. Okay, so for today's sessions, I will not discuss this week's material, but rather I will go into the next week materials to discuss more on the conductions. Okay, so we will discuss 2 examples today, just a small example. So this the 2 examples that we will discuss today is the heat conduction through composite walls, except that in this wall we just come up with the simple Cartesian coordinate configurations of the walls. So if you see that you have something where the height and the width of your wall basically is much more longer with respect to your thickness, then you will have something that are in a planar geometry like this. So I think for this kind of problems, it has been quite familiar in your process heat transfer. Correct me if I'm wrong. Did you get something like this from your process heat transfer, Jonathan? Or anybody? Can you confirm with me that you get something like this in your process heat transfer before? Sarina, did you get something like this in your heat transfer before? So a conductions through a different substances with a different thermal conductivity. Did you get it or not? Sarina, you can hear me? Or probably Stephanie. Stephanie? Oh, you haven't taken that unit, huh? Oh. How about Sarina? Sarina, you take that process heat transfer already? Did you get something like this? How about Evangeline? Did you get something like this? I just need to check something also that how can you forget so quick already, Sarina? Stephanie, did you get something like this before with the different conduction through a different what maybe? Come on, guys. Yeah. So in this kind of problem, industrial heat transfer problem, there is often a conduction through walls made up of a layer of different materials. So for probably one is made from the stainless steel, the other one is made from a nickel, for example. Okay, and it makes through a layer of various materials. Each has its own characteristic thermal conductivity. So the essence of these things is that in the process heat transfer, that I get, I think in my undergrad, we used to lump all these parameters in terms of the overall heat transfer coefficient. Okay, so I think you definitely get this one, because this one is when I look at your process heat transfer, then into Dr. Elaine's lecture notes, then I do find something called the resistance. So I'm pretty sure. So this, what we do essentially in here is, imagine we have three different materials. So the first one is extending from X0 to X1. The second one is from X1 to X2. The third one is from X2 to X3. Imagine that you have also a heat. We don't call this one is actually we call this one is an interface, the heat transfer between the fluid and the solid. Okay, on the I think between the fluid in here with the first material, and then also we have another one again between the third material with the fluid in here. Okay, so this kind of materials in here is something that we want to lump together into a resistance. Okay, I will let the one on the fluid, between the fluid and the solid, and then the first solid, and then the between the third solid with the fluid in here is defined by the Newton's law of cooling. Okay, and it is simply taken as the heat transfer coefficient multiplied by the difference in the temperature of the liquid with the solid surface temperature. So whichever that is higher will come first. So in this case, for example, because the fluid exists at the higher temperature, so that in the Newton's law of cooling, the temperature of the fluid comes first before the first material solid surface temperature in here. Okay. So how do we tackle this in the thermal phenomena? What you tackle in here is, remember that you have a term called the combined energy flux factor. The first term in here is related with the bulk flow fluid. The second one related with the viscous work. So these two terms comes with the velocity term in there. So in this case, there is no velocity at all. There is no movement of a fluid. There is no nothing. So in this respect, we took it as 0. Okay, so this one is 0, and we only dealt with the conduction in here. Okay, and then we have a look into our slab system in here. We took in shell elements with the thickness of the delta X, and we took it at the first material in here. Okay, it will be applicable equally to the second substance and to the substance 1, 2, and the substance 2, 3. Okay, so the region 0, 1. We took the rate of the heat in by conductions at X is Q at X in here, multiplied by the W and H. Note that the Q in here is defined as the heat flux. So meaning that the heat flux is the joule per second per meter square. And the area where the conduction goes is WH. So this one is where. So you imagine that the heat is moving from these to that directions in there, right? And those are equal to 0. So whatever the heat entering at X should be equal to the heat leaving at X plus delta XY, because we don't have any heat production term in here. It's only the heat conduction, right? So it's becoming a simple case. Then we divide by WH delta X, and as we take the limit delta X approaching 0, we get that dQx over dx is equal 0. When you integrate, you know that the heat flux basically is equal to a constant that is equal to Q naught. So the heat flux at the plane X equal X0. So whatever the heat that goes through this material will be preserved, because we don't have any heat productions or heat consumption term. So there is no, like in the previous example, we don't have the nuclear energy source, or we don't have the heat resistant terms in the cable. So it becomes very simple. Okay, then you do the same with the second one. You do the same for the substance 1, 2, and to 3. And essentially what you have is the heat flux is constant. Now, if you do it like this, then the next step that you have is you can substitute the Fourier's law, because you want to find the temperature profile in each of the region. So you substitute, in this particular case, we deal with the simple assumption that the Fourier's law is a simple Fourier's law term. So the thermal conductivity is constant in here. The thermal conductivity in here is constant. Okay, but it may not always be the case. Okay, so hi Kusao, I just want to confirm that in your side you can hear me clearly, Kusao, and just want to greet whether you are you doing fine today as well. Okay, you can type into the chat if you can hear me clearly. So what we need to do is we can substitute this Qx with this the respective Fourier's law of the conductions that contain the thermal conductivity for each substance in here. Okay, in this case it is constant, but it may not always be constant. So in a problem, I may take that this k is vary with the distance, or this can vary with time, for example. So in this case, we just take it as a simple thing. So how do I find the temperature profile? So what I can do is I integrate this. So I just do a little bit of manipulations into this equation, then I integrate. Once I integrate, then I can find that the T0 minus T1, if I integrate from the X0 to X1. Okay, so I want to integrate from this to this in here. If I integrate it like that, then I can just use the lower limit and the upper limit. Okay, then I will get these equations in here. That will give me the connections between the temperature difference from X0 to X1 with respect to the distance, and then that connects it with the with this thermal conductivity of that particular materials. And in the same time, then I can do it for the region 1, 2, and the region 2, 3. Okay, and note that the heat transfer at the outermost surfaces can be according to the Newton's law of cooling. So the surface 0 and the surface 3. Now, in the Newton's law of cooling, we see back in the system, the TA is higher than the T0, so the TA should be put into the beginning, I think before the T0. Why? You ask me? Because we just need to be realistic. If we put it the other way around, then we will have a negative heat flux. Correct? So it has to reflect the real situation. Okay, and likewise in the surface 3 as well. In the surface 3 in here, it's because T3 is higher than the TB, so I have to put in the 3 before the TB. Okay, so then in essence, now what you can do is you already have the temperature profile TA to T0. So you already have the temperature profile from here to here. You already have the temperature profile from here to here. You have the temperature profile from here to here, and as well as from here to here, and then from here to here. You can add them all together, and what essentially you will have is the temperature difference from TA to TB. Okay, this one, and then the heat flux as well, multiplied by these terms in here, that you can generalize. So in this particular scenario, you only have 3 different walls in here, but in case you have much more than 3, then this can be also extended into more terms. Okay, and this heat flux in here can be expressed in terms of the overall heat transfer coefficient, something that you get from your process heat transfer, that I'm sure. Okay, so this basically can be converted into this U in here. So if you can do a particular, if you can basically equalize this term in here with this term in here, then you notice that this U is equal 1 over this. Okay, so the way that you get your overall heat transfer coefficient will be 1 over U is equal these terms in here. So this is something that is quite straightforward for your heat conduction through a composite wall if you are dealing with the planar wall. Then if we extend this case to something that is having a cylindrical configuration, for example, in here, we are talking about a pipe made of several different materials, and then there is a heat conductions, because the fluid that flows in within your inner pipe is exists at the higher temperature than the fluid that exists at the outside of your tube. Okay, then meaning that you have a conduction that goes through this particular coordinates, and you have to solve these things using a cylindrical configuration. So what are the difference in this particular scenario? The difference is that you don't have the effect of the curvature in here, but in here you do have the effect of the curvature in here. So that will be apparent from your conservation law. As you put in these things, then you don't have any productions or the consumption term. But what you have is that you need to still multiply with your area. So this area is 2 pi RL, right? Because the area of your cylinder is basically 2 pi R, then you multiply by the length of this. Then that will be in minus out, okay? And then you divide by 2 pi L delta R. Now, your QR in here is a function of R. So you cannot split out your R outside of this QR. They have to lump together in this particular term in here, because again QR is a function of R, so they are related with each other. Okay, in such a case you can take the limit of delta R approaching 0, then you will get this d over dr RQR equals 0. Then you integrate. Once you integrate in here, then what becomes apparent is that what is constant is no longer the Q. In here, what is constant is the Q, the heat flux. But what is constant in here is the R multiplied by the QR. Okay, that will be equal to a constant. So, in order for us to make our life easier for the subsequent derivation, let's just take in the initial point in here as the R0. So we can define that RQR is equal to R0 Q0. So you can repeat the same energy balance into the regions 1, 2, and 2, 3. If you do so, then you will get this, and this. Okay. Then if we deal with the basic case scenario, we can assume that this K01, K12, and K23 is constant, right? Then essentially we can integrate all those. But of course, because of this come out the term that dr over R that comes out in here, then you come up with the not so straightforward term that you have in your previous example. So this one will come with the ln R1 over R0. You do it the same for the region 01, you do it the same with the region 1, 2, you do the same with the region 2, 3. And then also you apply the Newton's law of cooling into the surface 0 and the surface 3. Except in here you need to note that the R0 Q0 will be equal to R3 Q3. So the Q3 can be expressed in terms of the R0 Q0 divided by the R3. Okay, you do so, then you get this T3 minus TB. TB is equal to this. Okay. Then again, you sum up every terms that you have in there. It will cancel out to give you the overall change in the temperature difference between the fluid inside the tube with the fluid outside the tube. Now, the things in here is slightly a bit more complicated because of the effect of the R that you have on every equation. Then what you can do is you can manipulate it in this kind of terms where you take out the R0 and Q0 so that you get a term that represents each individual part within your equations. This can also be expressed in terms of the heat flow. Okay, note that when you change the Q into the capital symbol, it's different with the one with the lowercase symbol. Why? Because the Q with the lowercase symbol in here is representing the heat flux, whereas the Q with the uppercase symbol in here representing the heat flow. So this one in here is with respect to the area, so this will be per unit area, whereas the one in here is the total. So this one, the unit is in terms of the joule per second meter square, whereas in here the unit is in terms of the joule per second. Okay, so once you get it like this, then again you can also apply again something that you get from your process heat transfer. It's a bit different because I know that in Dr. Elaine's slides you are dealing it in terms of the resistance, but in here it's we are dealing it with the overall heat transfer coefficient. So when you deal it with terms of the resistance, then it's much more easy to understand in terms of the analogy with your electrical circuit, because in electrical circuit you use a lot terms of the resistances, but in here we don't. Okay. When you do it like this and then you equalize again this U naught, this Q naught in here with respect to these equations in here, you can tell that this U naught R naught is equal to this 1 over this. So 1 over U naught R naught will be equal to this. So essentially your generalized formula will be equal to this one. Now the subscript O on U naught in here indicates that the overall heat transfer coefficient is referred to the radius R naught. You may have a different form of the equations if you use as your reference point R3 or R2 or R1. Okay, so I hope that everything that I explained today is clear to you. I don't plan to add any other extra materials for this today, but I'm happy to entertain any questions that you may have so far from your momentum transport, from your heat transport so far. Anything that may not clear for you for your take-home test 1 tomorrow. Anybody? So this may or may not come out in tomorrow's test, but you just need to prepare for tomorrow's test anyway, just to refresh these things again. Okay. So any other questions that you may have, Jonathan, Gladys, Evangeline, Tiara, Stephanie, Alvin, Sarina, Daniel, Sakia, Kusal? Anything that is not clear from anything that you have learned so far? Anything about that you want to clarify today? Even with the tutorial also fine. I have no problem with you. You already get the equations of change, and yeah, the equation of change probably will not be included into your take-home test, but that is given to you to check your understanding, so that in case you go into a more complicated system than the one that we can visualize in here within our brain, then those professors in the Bert Stewart, Professor Bert Stewart and Lightfoot, they already created those equations of continuity and the equations of change, in order for you to be able to tackle whatever the difficulties problem that you have. And then also I believe that Frederick also already explained the applications of that equations of change into more complex systems. No, there will be no MATLAB using the tests. The MATLAB will come out in your assignment if it will come out in your assignment, because well, essentially I will not check you when you are doing the test, right? Basically I trust you, but of course I don't encourage you to work with each other during the test, so I hope that you don't. But of course you can have, it's sort of like you can have your own notes, and then you can check also whatever the things. But of course that the problem that I will give to you has to be able to be addressed within that 4 hours of things. So I will not give, I would say that whatever I give to you, it's enough to be solved by itself within that particular paper. Okay, but of course, because this is an online learning environment, then of course I don't know what kind of material that you can refer to. So I sort of, you guys are an adult, so I give you a trust on that respect, so you can see whatever you want to see. But I would say that whatever the test paper that I give, it's enough to be solved by itself in there. So all the units are given in there, all the equations are given in there, and even the hints are given in there. But of course, what I'm testing is the development of your understanding on what has been given. So it will require you to understand the problem much more than trying to find whether there are other similar problems that you can refer to. No, the more important thing is for you to understand the problem. So if you want to try to understand the problem, you prepare before the test. So you go into the examples, you check everything, you try to understand, and then this is why I'm asking you today if you have anything that you are not clear on your previous example or probably for this example. Does that answer your questions, Daniel? So the say is no, MATLAB will not come out in the test because I will not test it within that 4 hours. Okay, I think that's impossible for MATLAB to be tested within that 4 hours, Daniel. Okay, so I have to be reasonable to you guys. But if I took it, if I put MATLAB into your assignment that can be solved within that 4 weeks, then of course that is something that is reasonable, right? So your next assignment MATLAB may or may not come out. Okay, Jonathan, am I answering your question? Have I answered your question well? Is it yes or no, Jonathan? Okay, good. Any other questions, Stephanie, Tiara, Evangeline, Gladys, Alvin, Sarina, Sakya, Kusau? All good? So, everybody prepared for tomorrow, huh? Tomorrow, if you get any problem with the test, you can either email Frederick and myself. Okay, so Frederick and me will be on standby, but I'm probably a bit busy. So in case I ask Frederick to be standby if you have any issue with the technical issue, huh? Not the issue related with your questions. I assume that all is good because we have checked everything. So if you're unable with to access problem or something like that, you'll be fine, Tiara. Don't be nervous. 4 hours is enough. So start with doing the easiest question. Don't start with the most difficult question. So if you read the question and you think it's difficult, move on into the questions that are easier first. Okay, and do that thing first, and then always try to write nicely so that your marker will not suffer as well. And then you can basically, you have to be strategic in when you do your test. You start from the easier first and then go into the more difficult one. There will be 3 questions, Gladys. I think one will be on the heat transport. The other 2 should be on the momentum transport. Does that answer your questions, Gladys? Okay, 3 major questions, but there will be a sub questions as well, I think. Okay, so if there is nothing else again, then I will let everybody to go for their lunch, I guess, and wish you a good afternoon. And we are already halfway through our semester. After this, it will be more quicker, and I can tell you that I will not give you much more materials because my emphasis is not on the giving you much more material, but more on the understanding. So anything that you want, you can learn it yourself from the Canvas and from the recording. See you guys, and good luck for your tests tomorrow. Okay.